This story, titled My Fiancée Maxed Out My Credit Cards to Impress Her Friends. When I found out, I ended the engagement, begins with a hard lesson in trust, betrayal, and self-respect. Sometimes, the person you think you know the best can shock you the most. My name is Andrew. I'm 34 years old, and I live in Boston. By all accounts, my life was on track. I had a stable job as a software engineer, a comfortable apartment overlooking the city, and until recently, a fiancée I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Her name was Vanessa, and from the moment we met, I was captivated by her charm, wit, and infectious energy. Vanessa was the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into. She had a way of making people feel special, and I fell for her hard. We met 3 years ago at a mutual friends party, and within months, we were inseparable. She made me believe in love again after years of failed relationships. When I proposed to her last summer, I genuinely thought I had found my forever. But as the months went by, cracks began to show. Vanessa had always loved the finer things in life. Designer clothes, luxury vacations, expensive dinners, you name it, she wanted it. At first, I didn't mind. I wanted to make her happy, and I figured as long as we were financially responsible, it was fine to indulge every now and then. But Vanessa's idea of responsible was very different from mine. It started small, an extra glass of wine at dinner, an unplanned weekend getaway. Then it grew. She began asking me to cover costs for things she couldn't afford on her own. A new handbag here, a spa day there. I brushed it off, thinking, she's just under a little financial pressure right now. It'll pass. But it didn't pass. One Friday evening a few weeks ago, I was sitting in my office going through my credit card statements. I do this every month to make sure everything is in order, but that night, something caught my eye. There were several charges I didn't recognize. A high-end jewelry store, a luxury clothing boutique, and an extravagant dinner at a restaurant I'd never been to. I frowned, thinking there must be some mistake. I called Vanessa, hoping for an explanation. "Hey, babe," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "Did you use my credit card recently? There are some charges I don't recognize." There was a pause on the other end of the line. Then she said, "Oh, those? Yeah, I meant to tell you. I borrowed your card for a couple of things. Don't worry, I'll pay you back." "A couple of things?" I repeated, my voice rising despite myself. "Vanessa, these aren't just small purchases. What's going on?" Her tone turned defensive. "It's not a big deal, Andrew. I needed something nice for the girls' night out, and I didn't have time to transfer money. Besides, you're always saying how much you love spoiling me." I was stunned. This wasn't the Vanessa I thought I knew. The one who promised we were building a future together. The one who talked about teamwork and partnership. This was someone who had taken advantage of my trust. Someone who thought it was okay to use me as a personal ATM. "Vanessa," I said slowly, trying to keep my emotions in check. "This isn't about spoiling you. This is about respect. You maxed out my credit card without asking. Do you even realize how serious this is?" She sighed loudly, clearly annoyed. "You're overreacting, Andrew. I said I'd pay you back. It's not like we're broke or anything." But that wasn't the point. The point was that she hadn't asked. She hadn't even thought about how her actions might affect me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation in my head, trying to figure out when things had gone so wrong. I thought about all the little red flags I'd ignored over the years. The times she insisted I buy her gifts I couldn't afford. The way she laughed off any mention of budgeting. The times she made me feel like I wasn't doing enough to keep her happy. The next day, I decided to confront her in person. I wanted answers, and I wanted to understand why she thought this was okay. When I arrived at her apartment, she greeted me with a smile as if nothing had happened. "Andrew," she said, leaning in for a kiss, "you're being way too serious about this. Let's just forget about it and go grab lunch." But I couldn't just forget about it. "Vanessa," I said, "this isn't something we can sweep under the rug. You maxed out my credit cards. Do you even understand how much damage that could do to our finances?" She rolled her eyes. "It's not like we're married yet. Your money is still your money, so why are you acting like I ruined your life?" Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. In that moment, I realized something I had been trying to deny for months. Vanessa didn't see us as a team. She saw me as a means to an end, someone who could fund the lifestyle she wanted. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "Vanessa," I said, I love you, but this isn't the kind of relationship I want. I can't be with someone who doesn't respect me or my boundaries. I think we need to call off the engagement." For a moment, she looked genuinely shocked. Then her expression hardened. "Are you serious? Over a few credit card charges? You're unbelievable, Andrew." But I was serious. This wasn't just about money. It was about trust, respect, and the kind of partnership I wanted in my life. I walked out of her apartment that day with a heavy heart, but also a sense of clarity. For years, I had been bending over backward to make Vanessa happy, ignoring the ways she took me for granted. Ending the engagement was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but it was also the right one. Walking out of Vanessa's apartment that day, I felt a mix of emotions: heartbreak, relief, and a strange sense of empowerment. Ending the engagement wasn't just about her reckless spending, it was about reclaiming my self-respect and realizing I deserved better. But the fallout was far from over. The first few days were the hardest. Vanessa didn't take the breakup quietly. She called and texted me nonstop, alternating between anger and guilt-tripping. "Andrew, you're really going to throw away everything we built over a misunderstanding?" one message read. Another said, "I thought you loved me. Clearly, you were never serious about us." At first, I ignored her, but the messages kept coming. She even showed up at my apartment one night, tears streaming down her face. "Andrew, please," she begged, standing in my doorway. "I made a mistake. I'll pay you back. I swear. Just give me another chance." It broke my heart to see her like that. But I knew this wasn't just about the money. Her actions had revealed something deeper: her lack of respect for me, for our relationship, and for the future we were supposed to be building together. "Vanessa," I said, keeping my voice steady, "this isn't just about the credit cards. It's about trust. You didn't even think to ask me before making those purchases. You didn't consider how it might affect me. I can't build a life with someone who doesn't treat me as an equal partner." Her face crumpled, and for a moment, I thought she might genuinely understand. But then her expression hardened. "You're going to regret this, Andrew," she said, her voice laced with bitterness. "You'll never find someone who loves you the way I do." With that, she stormed off, leaving me standing in the doorway, feeling both resolute and deeply sad. The days turned into weeks, and slowly, I began to move on. I canceled the credit cards Vanessa had maxed out, filed disputes for any fraudulent charges, and started rebuilding my finances. It was a painful process, but it also felt like a clean slate, a chance to take control of my life again. Word about the breakup eventually reached my friends and family. Most of them were supportive, though a few couldn't hide their surprise. "Wow, Andrew," one of my friends said. "I always thought Vanessa was perfect for you. But honestly, it sounds like you dodged a bullet." Even my mom, who had always been a fan of Vanessa, admitted she had noticed some red flags. "I just didn't want to interfere," she said, giving me a hug. "But I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself." Despite the support, there were moments when I doubted my decision. I missed the good times with Vanessa, the way she made me laugh, the excitement she brought into my life. But every time I thought about giving her another chance, I remembered the betrayal, the way she had dismissed my feelings as if they didn't matter. One day, a few months after the breakup, I ran into one of Vanessa's friends at a coffee shop. I hadn't spoken to anyone in her circle since we ended things, so I was caught off guard when she approached me. "Hey, Andrew," she said, her tone hesitant. "I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry about everything that happened with Vanessa. She told us what she did, and honestly, we were all shocked." Her words surprised me. "She told you?" I asked. She nodded. "Yeah, she admitted she messed up. I think she's trying to make some changes, but, well, that's for her to figure out. I just wanted you to know that not everyone was okay with what she did. You didn't deserve that." Her words were oddly comforting. Knowing that even Vanessa's friends recognized the gravity of her actions validated my feelings in a way I hadn't expected. As time went on, I began focusing on myself. I threw myself into work, reconnected with old friends, and even picked up some new hobbies. I started going to the gym more regularly, something Vanessa always teased me about. But this time, I wasn't doing it for anyone else. I was doing it for me. And slowly but surely, I realized that life after Vanessa wasn't just survivable. It was better. I no longer felt the constant pressure to meet someone else's expectations or to live up to a lifestyle that wasn't sustainable. For the first time in years, I felt free. About 6 months after the breakup, I met someone new. Her name was Claire, and she was nothing like Vanessa. Where Vanessa had been flashy and demanding, Claire was down to earth and kind. We met at a volunteer event, and what started as a casual friendship quickly grew into something more. Claire knew about my past, and she respected the boundaries I had set for myself. She valued open communication and honesty, two things I had learned were non-negotiable for me. With her, I felt like I could be myself, flaws and all, without fear of judgment. Looking back, I'm grateful for everything I went through with Vanessa. It wasn't easy, but it taught me so much about what I want in a partner, and more importantly, what I deserve. Ending the engagement was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but it was also one of the best. It forced me to take a hard look at my own boundaries, my own values, and my own worth. And now I can confidently say I'm in a better place, financially, emotionally, and personally. Vanessa may have maxed out my credit cards, but she also taught me a priceless lesson. Love should never come at the expense of respect, trust, or your own well-being. If you found this story thought-provoking or inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have you ever had to end a relationship because of betrayal or a lack of trust? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for supporting this channel and for being part of these heartfelt conversations.